3,000 kilometers to the south, the massive comet crashes into Earth. The light from the impact fades in silence. Then the shock waves arrive. Next comes the blast front. Finally, a rain of molten rock starts to fall out of the darkening sky. This is the end of the age of the dinosaurs. The comet struck the Gulf of Mexico with the force of 10 billion Hiroshima bombs. In the catastrophic climate changes that followed, 65% of life died out. It took millions of years for Earth to recover, and when it did, the giant dinosaurs were gone, never to return. In their place have emerged other powerful and beautiful creatures. And we now know that one small group of dinosaurs did survive the extinction. And they are all around us today. The birds. The dominance of these strange mammal-like reptiles is short-lived. As the planet recovers, so does competition, and the brief glory days of Lystrosaurus will soon be gone. This is followed by a decline in all mammal-like reptiles, consigning our ancestors to the shadows for millions of years. Instead, it is creatures like Euparkeria that are about to usher in a new golden age. These specialists on two legs will provide a cornerstone for one of the greatest dynasties the world will ever see. Their descendants will become the dominant life form on Earth for more than 170 million years and be known as the most notorious monsters of them all. Welcome to the Age of Dinosaurs. The Neanderthals are supreme hunters, which is why they have lasted over 260,000 years. But they have a weakness. They do not adapt well to change. As a result of the harsher climate and the arrival of other humans, Neanderthals are fast disappearing. In another 2,000 years, they'll be gone altogether. The herd eventually arrived back on the northern plains. Fortunately, both of the youngsters have survived the journey. The herd has nonetheless suffered a major loss. The matriarch is missing, killed when the Neanderthals attacked. It is now her sister that leads the herd into the future. Mammoths will last another 24,000 years. They are superbly adapted for this cold world, but when it gets warm again, the grassy plains they depend on will disappear. The humans have a different future ahead of them. When change comes, they will be able to deal with it, because they can adapt, and they have the ability to shape the world around them. One day, they'll look back on all this. We have since built museums to celebrate the past and spent decades studying prehistoric lives. And if all this has taught us anything, it's this: no species lasts forever.
Never have even imagined anything like that. Tiny head and those great claws at the front. It is the oddest of dinosaurs. Therizinosaurus, he's noticed too. Normally big predators avoid each other, but it looks like there could be a clash and we better get under cover.
It was an awesome fight, but Tarbosaurus eventually backed down, and I got a chance to sneak out and observe the Therizinosaurus. I was in for a surprise. A whole herd of them appeared from the forest and started browsing on the trees.
Now everything adds up. Those teeth scattered in the skeleton, they were the teeth of a herbivore. The dung crammed with plant vegetation at the nest site. Therizinosaurus, it's a plant eater, not a predator. Look at them now, they're using those giant claws to drag leaves towards their mouths. Those great long necks for reaching up for vegetation, and those pot bellies. Those are great fermentation chambers for the tons of vegetation they have to eat. I want to get really close, but of course herbivores of this size, they're not safe. But hopefully, because of my smell, I smell like a mammal, I won't be attacked. The only mammals around at this time is really, really small rat-like mammals, so they shouldn't be threatened by me.
At least that was the theory. As far as I could see, those huge claws weren't for killing things, although they clearly discouraged that huge Tarbosaurus. In fact, these seemed quite gentle creatures, and this gave me an idea. Something that would bring my quest for the giant claw to a natural end.
They seem completely oblivious, even if I speak quite loudly. So I'm going to go even closer and see if I can touch one.
The drought drags on. A pair of young Allosaurus are out hunting for insects amongst the sand dunes. Instead, they find something much larger, the emaciated body of Big Al. Al never reached his full size. Instead, he died as a mature adolescent in a dried-up riverbed. Eventually, the rains would arrive and gently bury his body in silt for 145 million years. The process preserved his skeleton perfectly, including the lumps were healed after their break, the raging infection on his middle toe, and at least 17 other injuries and diseases. In death, Big Al represents a frozen moment in the fast and furious life of a carnivorous dinosaur.